Okay, so here you see what I've got. I've got a few of them in here. Well, you can probably maybe see I got my mist is on right now. But anyhow, I got a couple of them there that are training as to be the tree shape, you know, the straight up tree type. I got several of them here that are just, you can see they've just got a lot of new growth. So now I've already taken cuttings off of these this year already, earlier in the spring. I don't know if I did a video of those or not, but that's all new growth from this summer. And I'm like, man, some of them need potted up because you can see the roots are like bursting out of the bottoms and all that. And so that's when I like to pot them up, is when they start getting root bound, and then it's time for the next size pot. So so anyhow, this is basically the second cutting time for this year, or for this season, for the spring season on these. So let me just bring a couple of them up here and let's take a look at them. All right, so here's one. You can see it's in, I mean, it looks like a little bit bigger than a regular trade gallon pot there, but you can see, see if we can see where it was trimmed back last. Looks like this branch here I had, and all this stuff here is new growth coming off of it. This is new growth that's come out here. This is new growth coming out from the bottom. So that's good. That's going to cause that to be more bushier. Got new growth. This is a whole new branch here. And then this branch here, you can see was an original one. And but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and take and cut this. Let me just show you. I'm gonna cut this thing way back, and then deal with the cuttings later. Now I want to make sure I leave place for them to grow out and be bushy at the bottom. So see that node down there? I'm gonna leave that node. I'm gonna take that. Now I've got a little piece I can take cuttings out of. Same with this one. I'm gonna go above that node there. This one here, got a node here. I'm going to go above this node on that one. Now up here, I kind of, this old last year's wood branch, I almost want to trim it down to here so that it will bush out from the bottom. And in fact, that is what I'm going to do. Go ahead and go there. Kind of take that. Now I won't, that old wood I probably won't use as cuttings. So let's just continue here. Got this one here. I'm going to take it down there. As long as we got something down below, a node down below on that branch for it to branch out on, we're good. So in fact, I believe since it's doing so well at branching out at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and take this branch off as well. Got all of them branches there. And we got this one here. I'll take that. This one here. Take that above that node there. And then these ones here are really, really skinny and tender. So I don't know if that'll do me any good necessarily for cutting. So I think I'll just leave those to grow, at least for now. And then what we can do then when we take our next time to take cuttings off of these will be in like January, in the middle of the winter, after they've gone dormant, they've frozen, they're totally dormant, and then we'll take hardwood cuttings. Totally different thing. So, but this is quite a little bit of cuttings there off of one tree. I almost kind of want to start a tray of cuttings and see how many I get just off of one tree. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and pot this up to a bigger size, because I believe it's definitely showing that it's got the growth habit to be able to grow into. Well, let's just take a look. Let's take a look at the roots on this thing. Get the labels out. See what we got. It doesn't look like it's growing. Yeah, no, it's not really root bound. but it's got roots all the way around. So I must have potted this one up not too awful long ago. I tell you what, I'm not gonna, I think I'm just gonna leave it, because that's a bigger than a gallon. That's like a, it's not, I think it's like a gallon and a half. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave that. So yeah. So what I will do though is put fertilizer in it and go ahead and set it outside, out in the sun. It doesn't need to be in the shade anymore. It's grown plenty. Yeah, so I'm surprised that wasn't root bound, but it was obviously growing really good since the last time I trimmed it. So then what I'm going to grab here is one of these trays. I've got a stack of them here. Grab one of them. And these are 3-inch plug trays. They're 3 inches deep. It's deeper than your normal little, you know, like you pot up your plants for in the spring for like the tomato plants and all that. So a little bit deeper than that. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and fill up my my tray here, and I'm going to use. Actually, I'm using seed starting mix this time, and only because I just happen to have some right here, and yeah, it's going to be fine. I've been planting up seeds for the fall garden. Got our kohlrabi. Got, oh, what else do I got going on? Brussels sprouts. Got a bunch of Brussels sprouts. We love Brussels sprouts, man. And so got a bunch of them going. I got some cauliflower going, and anyhow, so I've got the seed starting mix handy here because I've been doing seed starting, and this is going to be just fine. This would be actually really an excellent medium for starting these. So I'm just kind of filling that up, packing it in slightly just so that, you know, it doesn't all sink and, you know, ends up sinking down to half size or something. We don't want that. All right. I got my label here, Limelight. I'm just going to go ahead and stick that in there right now. That way I don't forget it. So let me go ahead and kind of show you how I do my cuttings. And if you've watched my videos, you already know probably all of this, but so I'm just going to go ahead and leave the leaves on this batch. Now sometimes I'll just take and strip the leaves all the way off the branch. This batch I'm going to go ahead and leave them on and do it that way. There's different ways you can do it, so let's just go ahead and do it where we leave the leaves on. I'm going to go ahead and so what I do is I take go up to the next node starting from the bottom, and I cut that at about 1/4 inch below that next node, and then I could cut that there or I could leave it, doesn't matter. So I'm going to cut that leaf back, and the reason for cutting that back is to keep it from dehydrating. Too much leaf material will cause it to dehydrate. So go up to the next one, cut it there, cut them leaves back a little bit, and stick it in that soil. Same thing there, trim the leaves back. This one here, the tip cutting, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut them leaves off and then trim these leaves off. So that's a 2-node cutting there instead of a single node. And it's so soft that I'm going to have to get a pencil here and kind of use this like a dibbler and poke a hole so that fits in there. Now a lot of people have asked me, oh, why don't you use, why aren't you using rooting hormone? And I do sometimes. So we've moved here from, from Southside, and ended up, not everything's got unpacked, and I don't know where my rooting hormone is. And I'll be quite honest with you, hydrangeas really don't need it. I mean, I've had pretty good success with without even doing rooting hormone. So I've just been doing it without it. And probably if I had it, I might use it. I don't know. So here now I'm up to the tip cutting again, so I'll cut those leaves there off. And the reason a lot of people don't even do the tip cuttings because they don't think they'll grow, and a lot of times they'll shrivel up and die. But the reason I like to do them is because you saw those ones I'm shaping as trees. These will grow straight up, as opposed to ones like this. Now this will shoot out 2 branches. This one here will shoot out 1 up the middle. So that's going to be the tip cutting is going to be the ones that I get my tree stock out of. See, I really like those kind that has the that are shaped like a tree, that, I don't know what, call them like a topiary or a standard or what you call it, but I think they're pretty cool, and I want to get a couple planted out in the yard, and think that'd be kind of cool. And then of course, those end up being more expensive than your average Limelight. If you end up getting a tree, if you look online, man, they're charging like $175 for those trees. It takes several years to get those things, raised up to the height to where you can let a customer then take them and take over them, and I guess trust them to keep them in that right shape, because it takes every couple times a year of pruning them to get them to get that shape. And then once they plant them in the ground, they need to continue with that grooming as well. So we're getting to cut some of these leaves back. That's all right. Yeah, but boy, I tell you what, I never used to be a humongous fan of hydrangeas, and especially not the Limelight. I don't know, it just seemed like it's kind of colorless, just white and lime green. The green almost blended in with the leaves. It just never really, but man, I tell you what, last couple years I've just really fell in love with hydrangeas, and I've got quite a few varieties now. And which, I'm doing the same thing where I'm propagating them and getting them all ready to sell. So it's kind of a cool thing there. You see, I'm leaving a little bit longer than a 1/4 inch on some of them. That's fine. The important part is that you don't forget which side you got, which side's up. But with these, it's so easy to tell. So now I'm down to another tip cutting. But there's, oh no, I just lost my bottom of that. This one's probably not going to make it, because I just broke off that bottom node. It's all it's got is this little bit of node here. So this one might die. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and stick it, because if it doesn't die and if it lives, that'll be one of my tree things. So just keep plugging away here. Now see how close these nodes are together here on some of these. Some of that, if you take just that little tiny one as a cutting, that's just not enough plant material to be confident that it's going to grow. So I'll take several of those right there up to like right there. So that one ends up being 4 nodes, which is more than you need for hydrangeas. But anyhow, so that's still going to be a small cutting, and that'll be worked out really good. And then here again we got, man, the nodes are just so close together. So here I'll take that, get a couple nodes, just because it's so tiny. You do have to have a little bit of plant material. If it's just too small, it's just going to shrivel up and die. So now we're to the point where I can take a single node. So I'll go up to that node there and take that node there. Now it's kind of small, but that should grow. And I'm just showing you this, you know, how I'd make my decisions, just so you can kind of think about things as you're doing your cuttings. You can kind of look at each branch is not the same, so so you can kind of get an idea what you think would grow, and then of course experience, you see what grows, what doesn't grow, that kind of thing. That's another tip cutting. Boy, that's really soft and flimsy. It's I see why a lot of people just don't even use those, because a lot of people think they will shrivel up. So if you get your misting system, you're right, and you keep them hydrated, you know, you should be pretty lucky. And another thing, those can be kind of a gauge as to where you're at on your misting in your water. So if you see that those are starting to shrivel up, that's a good telltale that, well, I need to, you know, tweak that a little bit. So, you know, just something you can use there. Well, that tip cutting is extremely flimsy. But you know what? It's only taking up a little tiny space in this 50 count tray, so I'm going to chance it, because if I can get me a hydrangea tree growing out of that I can, you know, sell for $75 or whatever, it's definitely going to be worth it to me. You can't really even see what I'm doing here, can you? Sorry. Well, that one there, I feel like that's going to be too flimsy to even be a good cutting, so I'm just going to let this whole entire portion be the tip cutting. Oh, still not showing you very good, am I? All right, well, I've got 50 of them there so far, so that's pretty good. I've got this hardwood stuff and a few little branches left, so I got over 50 off of that one plant, so that's pretty cool. 50. I'm going to go ahead and what I do next is I fertilize these. I use just a slow release fertilizer, and I just put it on kind of light. Let me show you. Just kind of a light amount. It just gives them a little bit extra boost, gets them going. And I know a lot of people, it's not necessary, and a lot of people don't use it, and I never did when I was over at the other place where I was using my propagation frame, because I had a different system. But now I'm putting them in soil, or a potting soil, so to speak. It's high in carbon, and carbon will rob nitrogen from your green plants. So that's all green, all them leaves, all that leaves is green, that's nitrogen. So that soil would rob that out of those plants. And so I just give it a little, this is a very high in nitrogen fertilizer, and that's the reason I'm doing that. So you don't have to do that if you don't feel like that's a good strategy. Use it if you think it's good, but don't use just a regular fertilizer that's like not a slow release. Got to have a slow release. That's very important. So now I'm going to go ahead and just sit these down here. I'm really just going to sit them down into my area where I'm here, because I don't even need to water them in, because that mist comes on every hour. So I'm going to set them down here and grab another pot. Okay, I got a couple more plants up here, a little bit smaller than that last one, but man, that was pretty exciting to be able to get over 50. I mean, I still got all these cuttings I can do yet, probably another maybe 15, 20, good 15 at least. Anyhow, so I'm gonna go ahead and trim these back, and I'm just gonna kind of show you each different plant how I'm gonna trim it. Now this is in a gallon pot. And it may be, I'm going to see if it's root bound, see how it's looking. So it's not root bound. It's doing fine in that pot. So I'm going to leave it in this pot. But I'm going to go ahead and trim it back. And you can see it's got two main branches. And this one, I probably could take this one here, clip this other one off, and make it a just a tree type, because it's only got the two almost. Or I could maybe take this one, straighten that out. You know what, I think I'm going to do that, because it's not all bushed out. I'm going to take that all the way down here. Can you see that, how far down? And go all the way down, all the way. In fact, I'm going to pull that kind of apart there a little bit. Oh, look at that. Clipped it off, and I was able to get some roots. See that? I was able to get some roots off on that because of the way I clipped it down there. So that's good. I'm gonna set that aside. But now I am gonna pot this up, because see how it's leaning? See how it's leaning crooked? So I'm gonna pot that up into the next size just because of that. So. But I'm going to just set it aside for now. I'm not going to trim anything else off of that, because that's going to be another tree. So yeah, I'll set it aside. I'll deal with that later, and I'll just keep. Man, that's going to be an awesome one right there. So I think what I'll do with that is, I think I'll leave a couple nodes up to about there for that one. Let that one be a nice couple node cutting, because that's going to be a good one. Almost could pot that up into a small pot. In fact, I am. I'm just going to put that directly into a pot. Label with it. Yeah, why not, right? I'll set that up there. Now where should I set it? Set it right here. All right, now off to this one here. Taking more cuttings. Now this here, you can see, well, can you see? This one here, you can see I clipped it up here earlier in the spring. This here, all the way up there, this is all this year's growth, just a couple months worth of growth, and it's already starting to harden off down here. So man, that's really good, I guess. I'm gonna go ahead and leave a node. I've got a node down here that it can branch out there, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that there as a cutting. That'll get me a half a dozen cuttings there. Same thing there, get that. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just making sure I leave a node, one node for it to branch out at the bottom. And if I wanted it to go like if there was one coming off here, I'd probably leave a couple of nodes sticking out, because I don't like how crooked that is. You know, so you just shape it up however it ends up needing to be. So. And you can see I cut that there this spring, and it's already you know, growing up good. I cut it here so you can see. Let me show you how. Let me show you. When I say it branches out, when you cut it, I cut it here, it branched out 2 branches. So that makes it bushier. So now I'll leave a node down there. Take that, I'll leave a node here. And so now we've got more area for it to branch out. Weeds, get the weeds out. Here we got a couple nodes there. Take those. Yeah. See, now this here died. See how that just kind of broke off? That died. Get that off there. That. Well, I probably should stop. That's going to be, yeah. Now it can branch out from there and grow some more. So I'll set that one, and that one doesn't need potted up either. So I'll set those in both aside. We'll pot that one up. Grab another tray. All right, so back to just the same thing. You know what? You don't need to see me do all this. I've pretty much showed you all the tricks. You know it all now. So main thing is make sure you keep it moist. Keep it in a humid environment or under mist. I've got a mist system set up here that I will say I'm still working on getting the details worked out. I've not perfected it. So I'm still working on that. Once I get it perfected, then I'll try to do a video showing how I've done it. But yeah, still working on that, and everybody's gonna have to do their own figuring all that out. And but anyhow, yeah, get out there, find some hydrangeas. If you got some pots, you know, if you got some planted up, if you're starting a nursery like I am, you're building up an inventory of plants. This is how we grow them. So these plants are going to be bigger plants, and I make bigger, more expensive plants. You know, I might have a $7 plant there, and I want to switch it up to the next size or turn it into a tree. You know, each one of these decisions that I make is going to help. Is how I decide. You know, for each plant. So anyhow, get out there, get your thumbs brown, propagate something, and I will catch you on the south side. God bless.